Okay, so I'm recording. Hi, got it. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen now, and okay. Are you guys? Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So lots to cover today. We're working with the FAC. We've made some big changes on the ad fund, and I want to walk you through that. We're also going to go through a new tool that Laura Lee and Leslie have just started using in Charleston that I think you'll think is cool. And we'll also have quite a bit of time for Q&A as well. So, if you have specific ideas, but really what we want to focus on each of these town halls is a specific area of focus. And so last time it was on sales. This time it's on lead generation. So how can we increase your funnel at the top so we can help you close more deals? And so I wanted to take a step back and go over, and I shared this slide at conference. So where do lead sources come from? And I didn't put in 2022 just because I don't think it's changed dramatically. But what we talked about in San Diego is repeat realtors or just repeat referrals are extremely high. So I think that says something to just the relationships you've built and, just the quality, which is great. But I think where there's opportunity is, email marketing as well as the internet search. And so if you depend too much on only referral marketing, what we found is we've had people who are, franchisees will say things like, my realtors have aged out and they're no longer doing it, or they had a bad year, they got sick. And so if you're only depending on a small amount, you're limiting and just your potential. And so how can you expand where you're going? And so we rolled out new websites last year, and the goal is to send people to those sites so they can convert to either call you or send a lead in. And so Levitate has been a big help. But at the end of the day, we need to get more traffic if we're going to get more leads. So this is the planting season as we get ready for the big traditional spring rush. And where do we spend the resources, and where do you guys as well? And so we talked about effectiveness. If you're going to invest, is where you're going to get the best bang for your buck. And so clearly, digital advertising, digital marketing is what is doing the best. Your website's okay, but we in the past have done PR and trade shows. I know some of you have done print, but I think when we look at the statistics and the data, it's digital advertising is what turns traffic into deals and gets people to your website. And what we've also found is that Google is really the king of this. Social media, Facebook, Instagram are okay, but that's more branding. But what's really going to drive traffic when people are looking for you, it's going to be Google. And so, I showed you this thing that Pratt put together last year from 2021, and blue this is inquiries by source, and blue is your referrals and repeats. But half their traffic or more, sometimes 70% is from Google searches and other sources of marketing. And if you look at their revenue, job revenue by source, referrals are still the biggest thing, but 30-40% can come from other searches. And so you take that away, it's a huge impact on its business. And so we've been working with the FAC on really kind of repurposing and refining the ad fund. And we wanted to take a step back and what is the purpose of the ad fund? And you take a look at your agreements, it talks about we administer a fund to support marketing and advertising for the system on a regional and national basis. And we're going to update some of the specific things. When it started, it was only home manager marketing, but the end goal is driving local customer leads to franchisees. I think we're going to add some language about also helping you close deals as well. But bottom line is, increasing marketing and advertising to help drive business. And so if you look at 2022, this is the kind of stuff we talk a lot with the FAC about. This is the draft and this is the actual. And so we have around 120,000 a year to play with. If you look at net royalty revenue at 2% of gross. And so what, if you, as far as this, we try to keep it pretty close. We're pretty conservative on this. And so there's always we try to keep a bit of a balance for different reasons. But what I'm showing you with these color codes, green is what we're planning to continue. Yellow, we're going to talk about a different program with Client Point. Red is what we're going to get rid of. And so the new website, we had some costs in getting that launch. Service scores, the mystery shop. And we've had feedback on more on the negative side, frankly. So we're going to take that in-house again. We're going to continue doing that, but we'd rather use those funds to drive leads. Levitate will continue. The 800 number, we really weren't getting a lot of activity on it, so we've gotten rid of that. And so for 2023, what we're looking to do, a couple things. One, we're going to continue our local listings program and Google My Business. This is with AdPlore, who half of you guys work with right now. And so we're on 65 different directories. It's using a tool called Yext that you need to be on to keep you up in the listings and the rankings. So if someone types in home staging, Houston, we want you at the top of the list on the first page. Google My Business is another piece. And so they do a good job on that. The local digital marketing, and that's one of the things that we heard from the FAC and from you guys on ad fund, is we want to be able to use these funds and have more control to use them for local marketing. And so we're going to be doing 31,000 to allow our franchisees to market locally. And so I'll walk you through what that's going to look like. Emma, email marketing, we're sending 1 million emails a year with it. And so we're going to continue with that. We came up with new templates last year, and it's, you look at Kansas City, that's their primary marketing tool. And the phone rings like crazy when they do that. Listen 360, it's a little less because we have a few less locations this year, but it continues to not only be a great tool for us, just for customer responsiveness, but it also helps, drive our reviews. And then a big change here is on the e-proposal reimbursements. We've used Client Point for 3+ years. We were spending around 17,000 a year. And what we found was, number one, only around half of the people we were paying for were using it. It's around $1,000 a franchise. What we're going to do is, starting March 1st, we are going to provide a $500 reimbursement to use if you want to use Client Point, that's great, but we're going to split it. But if you want to use Proposify, I'm going to show you there's a lot of different systems that are out there. And it's funny enough, we had that contest in San Diego for where we had people do a proposal on the fly, and the top 2 or 3 were Proposify winners. So there are different options out there, but again, I'm going to show you some of the options in a second, and then Levitate will continue to use. And so if you look at the breakdown, 60% is going to be focused on local digital marketing. 25% will be on other forms of digital marketing, our marketing technology rather, and then email marketing is 300 to 600 a month with AdPlore, with the different users. And if you're a user, you have your own dashboard. And I think that's, if you want to use AdPlore, that's fine. You don't have to use AdPlore. If some of you use your own, do it on your own, or some of you may have another local person who does it for you. We don't care. We just want you to be able to use it because we think that's going to be what drives traffic. And so, you know, taking a step back, what are we trying to accomplish with the digital marketing push? If you look at a standard funnel, we've got number one at the top is discovery. And so the Google search results, web ads, social ads, and the KPI is going to be more unique visitors, ad clicks, search rankings. I mean, just look at the digital marketing scorecard. It's pretty black and white. The people who market and spend money with AdPlore on their own get more get more traffic, get more leads. But as you go through the funnel, it goes down to blog articles. I mean, people are reviewing. Once they learn about you, they're going to do their research and they're looking at reviews, which you have on your website, and you have your own web reviews page, case studies. You guys have projects, a lot of photos, and so they're looking at competitors, and then at the end is conversions, and so that's really where we're going to try to drive. And so I want to just show you just an example on how you can target people. And part of this is you can't just, spend money and just, set it and forget it. You're constantly going to, and monthly, you're going to need to edit your program. And so we started a program with a different vendor for franchise sales. And so just to give you an idea, I just want to kind of walk you through what this looks like, because we're targeting it's a different thing, but it's still digital marketing. We're looking at people who want to buy a home staging or design franchise, and so you want to be able to go through and see these are the key terms that we're using. But what are they spending? What are they clicking on? Where are you getting impressions and clicks? And what's your average cost per click? And what are they not spending money on? And so you're going to want to adjust that each month. But you can also see where are they searching, and it may be different than you realize. It could be ways to sell my house, or I want home painting or whatever. I mean, so I think those are the things you want to look at, but you may want to expand beyond just staging. It may if you're doing a lot of updates, you may want to get into that category. If you're wanting to do short-term rental design, you may want to do Airbnb design or whatever. And so AdPlore can help you. I mean, that's one reason I think it's good to use an AdPlore or someone like that. If you want to do it on your own, you can do it. Google has a lot of different ways to help you. But since we've started this, our leads have almost tripled. And so you can target, if you're looking for specific, who's your customer? Is it realtors? Is it builders? I mean, all those kind of things, is it homeowners? So you can work with AdPlore on this kind of stuff. And so this is going to be an ad fund matching program. And so we think it's important that everyone has some skin in the game, and we want to increase just the overall scope of what our franchisees are doing. So number one, you're going to have to be in good standing for us to do this. Spending is Google only. We're not spending it on, Facebook, Instagram are fine, but like we talked about earlier, Google is where we want to focus. It's a 50-50 match, up to $300 a month, so $3,600 annually. So, $600 is great. If you want to spend more, that's fine, but we want you to spend at least $300 a month, 150 net. So if you're not doing it, I'd say, start at the 300 level. 150 is not going to be a huge, pain for you, but I think that'll help. Not going to get you probably as much as you could get, but that's a start. We want you to also have a 12-month commitment. I mean, this is, if you do it for 3 months and, it hasn't doubled your business, then it's not going to happen. I mean, you need to have it there for a longer term. We want you, AdPlore, if you work with them, it's fine. If you don't, they have a system where you can load your Google account into their specific Showhomes dashboard. So that'll be something we'll want to talk about and get you connected with AdPlore. Again, it's up to you I mean, we're not going to force you to use AdFloor if you don't want to. Some of you do it on your own. Some of you have other sources. And then we'd like to either, if you have monthly meetings, work with AdFloor. We'd like you to talk to them monthly. I know, Marissa down in Coral Gables spent a lot of time working with them and tweaking the ads. And it took her some time to get there, and they continue to do. That's my understanding. If you don't work with AdFloor, then talk to Lynn and me, one of us. We'd like to have a conversation and kind of go through your plan. So I guess before we kind of move on, what are some questions at this point about this?
Matt, I do have a question. So when I am directing where a request for a review is coming from, I know we can request for them to send in a review through Google, or I know Listen 360 also sends one out. So it feels a little bit redundant, as though I'm splitting where those reviews are going, and I'm just wondering what your advice is as to which program I should actually be using.
I mean, well, Listen 360 does it automatically, so I would just use that. I mean, if you don't.
And then those wouldn't be presenting into the Google rankings.
I mean, well, the way it works is it asks them for a review, and then it'll, if they give a review, if it's a promoter, they get an email with the link to click on to Google. So
They get the link to click onto Google.
Right, to your review page.
So that'll go into our website as well as our Google reviews.
Right. Yeah, it goes first to Google, but then it will go to your website. You approve it, and it'll go to your website.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you.
Sure.
One more question on that, though. Sometimes we like to ask the client directly or the realtor directly, and our AdFloor girl has sent us a QR code and a link so that we can just easily share it with the client while we're on site working with them after the job is done. And so I don't know I mean, it seems like it might be a little more effective if we have some face-to-face time with them, and then say, oh, hey, would you help us and send a review, and they're a little more apt to do that, I think, than waiting the length of time that it would take for the automated one to come. But
yeah, I mean, I think you want to try multiple times to do it. So, each of you have a shortened Google reviews link. If you don't have it, let me know, because we've sent it out several times, but our AdFloor can share it with you. And so you can share that with them. I would make, the customers aware about it. I don't know if I've taken my car in for service ever where they didn't say, oh, by the way, you're going to get an email, please give us a good score. So making people aware of it. But you may want to also review, and each of you have a dashboard with Listen 360, see who's given you a review, who hasn't. If they haven't given you one, you may want to just send them an email on your own, just saying, hey, just a reminder, if you could do that, that'd be great. Appreciate your help, blah blah blah. But I think if you look at it, we have a range, but I think it's around 20% of the people are responding and turning it, giving us reviews, which is good. But there's 80-90% of them that are not, is reality. So
hey Matt, this is Pratt.
Hey.
Question on the reviews from the website, or testimonials or whatever we call them. Do they get into this count anywhere?
What do you mean?
Well, like, we have a lot of people just send us, they may send us directly an email with some complimentary words. And of course, at the end of every job, we send them a request for a Google review, no matter what. But on our website, I'm able to create a review or a testimonial with the text from their email.
Right.
So, we have a lot of those comments on our website, but as far as I know, they're not linked into our review count anywhere else. Like, somebody searching, finding us on Google My Business or just a Google search isn't going to see the reviews on the website.
So your question, can those be, can the reviews on your website be loaded into Google?
Oh, no, in Google, we can't load in our own reviews,
Well, yeah. So what,
but on the website we can.
okay. I'm confused. What's your question about that, though?
Well, so there's additional reviews that are in there on the website that aren't recorded in Google. So I'm just wondering if the website count is in the total that you're going to be looking at.
Oh, you're talking about the digital marketing checklist?
No, I'm just talking about on our website, there's something called testimonials or something like that, where you can put those out there, and I can create one and just copy and paste from an email directly from a client and put it in.
Okay. No, I think that's great. I guess I'm not tracking you. So it's.
Okay, so when you add up the total number, like whatever KPI you're using for this, I'm sure is going to be something like number of reviews. And there's going to be some on the website too. I'm just wondering if they're going to get counted.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the past, our main focus has been just looking at the Google reviews, because that is what has an impact on your rankings and things like that. So I think that's, yeah, but I don't, that's, yeah, we could start to look at that as far as the digital marketing scorecard, because yeah, I think those are good things. So that might be something to consider. Yeah, and another piece, I think a lot of times, and we've talked about it before, but we'll send the you have to go and approve your reviews.
Yes, that's correct.
And so if you don't do that, then they're just going to sit there. And so I've gone through before and just approved them, but I think the reality is you need to do it, and you're not going to. Sometimes those reviews are bad, and so that's why we want you to review it. So yeah, that may be an idea for us to add the online reviews as another KPI.
Yes. Second question. So just so I understand this right, so if we spend $300 a month on Google Ads, we're talking about getting a rebate from Showhomes of $150 a month.
Right.
Okay.
So Christy would just pay for that after we get. And again, that's why we want to have proof through connecting your Google account. So what other questions or feedback? Okay. Is this something you guys like? Is this something you think is going to be useful?
It feels like people don't like it.
What was that?
Hey. Oh, okay. Sorry. Not.
Yeah, Liliana, is that you?
Yes, so I am turned. We spend a lot of money on the past on Google Ads, changing agency, did the best things, doing a lot of searches with different types, and we didn't have results. So we lost a lot of money. Like the quality of the leads are extremely low. So while the lead generation that we have in the website, it's extremely good because the quality of the Google Ads is pretty bad. So I don't know if we close one deal a month and spending a lot of money.
So you're saying you're not doing it right now?
No, we stopped doing it because we tried several times and we didn't get any results. We were just losing money. And it was very expensive. So for our market, it's extremely expensive for each click. So it was costing us like $70 to have a lead, and the closing rate was pretty bad. So I don't want to say other markets may be different. For us, didn't work.
So maybe those people where it doesn't work, they could just opt out.
Sorry?
Well, you don't have to do it. I mean, I think the reality is you need to part of this is working with someone like an Adplorer and updating your campaigns.
Yeah,
So-
we did it for years with several big marketing companies, not just one. So we thought like, okay, it's a marketing company, let's change the marketing company. So we spend a lot of money on that. So I just want you ask for feedback. It's not negative. I just telling you for us didn't work. Can be the market. I don't know.
So, all right, so Mainline, are you on there? Monica and Ally?
Of course we are.
Okay. So for you guys, I mean, I think we've talked many times about this, that when you want to start driving leads, you turn on your Google. If it gets, when you get full, with your calendar, shut it down, correct? So is that still kind of how you guys work up there?
Correct. So yes, we max out our Google when we feel like it's either approaching our market time and we want to get the phones ringing, or for whatever reason we feel like we're a little slow and we want to get the phones ringing. It's just a reminder. So the Google advertising isn't always about lead generation. It's just a reminder that when someone types in home staging in our area, they get a visual on us, our website. We have photos up there. We have some testimonials. So they can see that we're a legitimate business. We've been around for a while. They can feel good about the brand without having to dive deep in terms of research. Because, these people are going to be inviting you into their home and they just want to make sure I feel like that you're a legitimate company.
Yeah, Monica, I know you're talking about the website. Can be that when we did ads we had the old website that was behind other staging companies.
Well, we've been doing this since 2014 and we've grown a minimum of 35% a year top line every year.
Really? Wow.
And you're spending what, 500, 700 a month in that range?
Correct.
Okay.
We're getting ready to test.
Oh, I was going to say, I can offer a testimonial for it. Adplorer specifically. We started working with them exactly a year ago. Well, a year and 1 month ago. We started in January of 2022. And we had, I don't have the exact numbers, but the mix of our client base has shifted pretty drastically in the past year, where we have way more new clients than we've ever had. I mean, we were so heavy on repeat referrals, which is great, and it kept us alive during the pandemic. But in the past year, we've had a lot more new clients, and I can tell you, I'm very involved with the local staging community here at the RISA group, and I had my best ever December and my best ever January. I mean, they're still slow because it's our slow season, of course, but every other stager in Portland is struggling right now. There are stagers that have never offered deals that are offering 40% off full home stages right now, which is killing me at the moment, but they're doing that because they didn't have the business. And we've actually had a very good December and a very good January, again, relatively speaking. So it's been a year. And I do just, intuitively phone calls from people. How did you hear about us? Google, a couple houses, but mostly Google, for anybody new. So it's pretty enlightening. And we're spending, it varies between about 300 and 500 a month in ad spend on top of, the Adplorer fee. So
Awesome.
it's working.
That's good to know. Congratulations. That's awesome. So Marissa, down in Miami, are you on? Can you unmute and talk to us? Gonna have Marissa, you there? Okay, there you are.
Yeah.
Hey. Well, I know you had a great year last year, but can you talk about I mean, you did a lot of work with Adplorer to change your ads, correct?
Yeah.
As far as getting them working.
Yeah, I mean, we realize that we have to talk to them on a monthly basis and just, update the pictures and make sure you're answering the phone calls. And not all the leads are great. That's true. They're not all good. So you have to learned how to kind of qualify them. So
So what did you do? What changes did you make to your ads? And what are you doing now that's working?
I mean, Melanie is the one that does the social, this for me, so I don't know exactly, but she, just does keywords, make sure you have the right keywords and search words and, tweaking the map to make sure we're targeting our areas and not all over the place. And, I don't know, just, they're always, you have to post pictures on there, so we do that.
Okay. All right. Good.
That's kind of what we do.
So Laura Lee, how about you in Charleston? How are you doing your digital marketing to drive leads?
Hey there. Well, I might let Leslie speak to that because she's on the call today and she does an amazing job for us. We don't use AdPlore specifically because we have Leslie. So Leslie, are you able to chat a little bit about how you're doing that?
Yeah, I manage the Google ads and we have several ads running. Probably our spend is around $300. Is that what you agree, Laura Lee? Yeah,
Yes.
about $300 a month. And we get lots of impressions, thousands of clicks. The return on phone calls isn't that great, but it's definitely an awareness.
And what are the keywords that you focus on?
Let me pull that up. Mainly home staging, home updates. Let me look, hang on. I'm constantly updating. I think every day I go in and make sure we take out our negative words and add in, the proper words that we need.
Now, what does that mean? You're taking out your negative words.
So there's negative words that pop up. Google will just say, okay, somebody will Google a road, let's say near Showhomes Charleston, and we may pop up, well, I don't really need that road. We don't need to pay for that ad to be shown near that road. Or let's say they're looking for, I don't know, just something else, an interior designer or something else with interiors. Oh, today I looked at it and they want to rent furniture. Well, we don't really rent furniture. So I made that a negative keyword. So anybody that wants to rent furniture, that's not going to come up. Does that make sense?
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and I would like to point out something, or reiterate something that Leslie said, that she doesn't want to pay for these. So the way that Google advertising works when and if you're running it for yourself is that you don't pay for the ad to be rendered, you only pay for the ad if you click. And where your ad is rendered is based on your monthly budgeted spend. So you want to be in the 1, 2, or 3 position because that's most likely going to be a click for you. But so for instance, when we put our budget for between $500 and $700 a month, we may not spend that. We may spend some portion of that because either our ads didn't click through to that extent, or that would be the reason, so that we didn't get enough clicks on our ads to add up to that much money. But what it does allow you to do when you open your budget up like that is to compete against your others looking to be rendered under those keyword search terms that Leslie was talking about. So that, and which is why it's important that you're managing both your negative words and your positive words, because you could be depending on your budget, you could be paying $10 for that click, but it could therefore be a very highly targeted click. You don't want just your casual observer who saw a pretty photo and then click on your ad, and it's not a good lead that Liliana had mentioned. That's another reason why negative. AdWords
Monica,
are-
you're kind of muffled. I think we're having trouble understanding you. Just
Yeah, me
as a heads
too.
up.
Oh, sorry. I think my computer's getting ready to die again because my video isn't working either.
Yeah, okay.
I apologize. So, I won't repeat what I just said since it was so long-winded, but I guess what I would summarize, I spent a lot of time doing this on my own. I now use AdPlore.
Okay.
And I
So,
found my keyword themes. I
Okay.
used Charleston real estate, staging a home, luxury real estate, home staging, home stager, real estate staging, home staging experts, staging homes, and remodeling design services. And they limit how many you can put in. But then I have, for my negative keywords, I have thousands because they just try to add in. You have to stay on top of it if you do it yourself.
okay.
And
So,
can we have, Matt, can we have these keywords or something like send it to us or just we
yeah,
have
I'll put
can
it in
share
the next
this?
newsletter. Yeah, Leslie, if you could send that, that would be great. So,
Matt,
so
I have a question. Couple questions. It's Barbara. Would AdFloor be able to help us with this as far as this staying on top of it daily, what she's talking about?
yeah, I mean, that's what you're paying. That's one of the things you're paying for is for them to do it.
Okay. And then my other question goes back to when we were talking about the testimonials, because we love Sestino because the Listen 360, you can, like I just had a really bad situation with a home manager and she gave us a 0 out of 10, which is nice because you don't have to put it on your website. But so if somebody gives us a bad review on Google, we do not have the option to remove that. Isn't that correct? Like, that's the only nerve-wracking thing.
No, but you want to respond quickly to those and give your side of the story. And, if anything, I've heard that negative reviews can sometimes be good because if you just show nothing but good stuff, it doesn't, you don't seem like you're a human. And so, I mean, if you have one of those, you just need to respond to it. And so that would be the key.
Yeah.
And if it's something you think is wrong or illegal, or it's something that's off base, AdFloor is a Google vendor and they can talk to Google about taking it off. That doesn't always happen.
That's good to know.
But you can ask the question. So
We usually have to ask our realtors and our homeowners if they can review us twice, really, because we make the request because we want our Google, we want to be, Ashley is on top of that and she has to actually ask them twice because we can't put them from, like Pratt was saying, you can't take it from the website and put it on Google. So you kind of ask them twice.
yeah, and Google wants to verify it's a human. It's not a bot that's adding stuff. So that's not just Google. House does the same thing. So I think of most of the reviews.
Oh, and House as well, right? Yeah, we pretty much have to ask them more than once. Okay, thank you.
So John Aaron, I know you're one of the newer ones, but you've coming out of the advertising business. You have a background in this, and you've done a great job in driving traffic to your website. And so, what are your thoughts about? Just you want to give us your feedback on?
Sure. We work with AdPlore. We have since we started, and since we started the monthly meetings that I guess Marissa organized, it's been even better. The relationship has, and we're seeing the results of that on a monthly basis. Our website traffic is really up. Business is really strong. Frank just reached in my office and said we had 3 new leads come in this morning. So in terms of AdPlore, I'm a big proponent of what they do. on
You're
the,
spending like 600 a month or so?
I think I'm spending like 900.
900, okay.
And as far as the testimonials go, I'm not sure I know how to use Listen 360 properly, but I'm funneling all our requests for reviews through 360 because I get a chance to approve or unapprove before it gets to Google. And we haven't had really any negative ones, but I always like to ask the reviewer to phrase it, phrase the praise, if you will, as a more of a team compliment than Zoe did so good or Frank was so good. And so I'm able to moderate a little bit kind of how those testimonials are written. So.
Well, I mean, if you look at and take a look at your Listen 360, let's see, where is it? Okay. Okay, are you seeing that?
Yeah.
Okay, so all of you have your own dashboard. And I'm not sure everyone, we probably need to have another training class on Listen 360, but you have your own website, your own dashboard, and you can see all the feedback you've gotten. So this is Frisco. And so you've gotten quite a few leads, since in the last year or so. And so, I mean, these are really powerful things that you can use for marketing. You want to make sure that you're going on your website and approving them. But I mean, you've got some, this is powerful content. So
Yeah, I had yesterday, we staged a house that had been on the market 45 days. He took it off, we staged it Thursday. And yesterday it went under contract, so 3 days. And he says, house showed very well and the staging was the best I've ever seen. And this is a realtor, so that'll definitely be going on our testimonials.
wow. Well, that's
John,
awesome.
your push to make it praise for the team, that really strengthens business rather than it being a single rock star.
Yeah, and we, unfortunately, we've had some turnover down here, so I want to keep the praise generic.
So I'm going to do, Pratt asked for me to do a poll, so I'm going to do that right now. Let's see. I'm going to add, hold on, I'm about to launch it. I'm going to add, let's see. Hold on, I'm going to ask about, let's launch this. Okay. I guess the question is, are you spending any money on Google right now? So if you can let us know yes or no. So we can go and we'll give this a second. So give it another second. If you haven't voted, go ahead and vote if you could. So it looks like it's a 50-50 split pretty much. So
Matt, we're seeing a question on the screen, but we're not seeing the feedback you're getting.
okay, I shared the results. Did that come up?
Yes.
Okay. So for those of you who are spending, I mean, it sounds like most of the people who are spending on Google are pretty pleased with the results. I mean, if you just, I mean, you think about it, if you're spending $3,600 a year, you would need essentially one job to pay for it. So to me, it's a pretty good ROI for it. So let's do, any thoughts about, let's do another poll.
I'll just make a comment on that. I started with AdPlore about 3 months ago. And I understand that it's too early in the game to see any movement on the needle, but I can't say that I've seen any calls that have come in as a result of my Google spend.
Monica, we can't hear you. Were you saying, Monica asked us, were you going to say something? Okay, okay. Well, I think you may want to, I think one of it, you may want to talk to them about updating your ads, but I think part of it is, you know, you're also in the slower time, but that would be a question.
And are you meeting with them monthly?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
good.
Let's see. So I guess I'm going to do one more. So does the matching program, if we're going to match it, does it encourage you to start spending? Yes or no? I guess, and if you're spending now, does this encourage you to increase your spend? You guys seeing this poll? No? Okay. Did that thing pop up?
No,
No? Okay, hold on. Well, it says it's been shared. I don't know.
well, it's sharing the results of the first question.
Okay, let me stop sharing that. Okay. So, all right. So does the matching program, if you're not advertising, encourage you to start, or does this encourage you to start? If you're using it, does it encourage you to spend, to increase your spend? I couldn't get all that in one thing. All right. So go ahead and share that. So it looks like the majority think the matching program will encourage more advertising. So, I mean, I would think it can take time. That's why we want you to spend 12 months doing it. I think it's a good thing to do. I mean, when we talk to other home services company, this is kind of a staple. Most of them, frankly, are spending $3,000 or some huge number. So let's keep going. So I want to show you the other piece of another topic we wanted to talk about, the electronic proposal system. So we work with Client Point. You know, this will show you just the usage for 2012. And it's kind of interesting. You see a lot of ups and downs, but we've got probably just, you know, probably 8 people using it regularly. What we're talking about doing is, you know, expanding this beyond just Client Point. You know, if you want to use it, that's great. At $75 a month, we would need to get, you know, we'll pay for half of it, or $500 a month total, or $500 total. So, but there's also Proposify, that's like $400 a year. Who's using Proposify? I think Monica, Allie, you guys are still using this. Is that correct? Can y'all hear me? And I think I think Coral Gables. Any Proposify users want to share some of their feedback about it? I don't think they can hear me. So let's keep going.
Matt, this is Laura Landisman.
Hey.
I use Proposify for my update proposals because of the capabilities where client can choose which things they want to do and click on and off, and then it redoes the totals.
Okay.
So I just have a free account with them because I don't do that many. But that's the only thing I use Proposify for, and I use Client Point for all my staging proposals.
Okay. Well, if we paid for, if you wanted to switch to Proposify and we paid for it, would you do that?
Well, with the format that we were given before, it's very hard to edit Proposify. And so I don't know if it would be better with a clean slate new template than that old one that we had. That's what I'm continuing to use just because I don't want to create another one. But going in and editing thing can sometimes be very laborious. So someone who uses Proposify regularly maybe doesn't use that old template, maybe could speak better to that, because that's my big
I wonder
issue.
if they could share. I wonder if the ones who are using it could share their template somehow. So I'm not a Proposify expert in any way, but anyone else using it?
Hey, Matt, this is Brian in Kansas City, and I use Client Point for everything. I think my concern is as I'm stepping into March and April, I'm getting ready for spring parade. If Proposify requires that I do a lot of training, I'd probably opt to stay with Client Point because it's what I know. Yeah, just for now. I think definitely maybe if it were like a month ago, I probably would have been more of a proponent, but I'm getting ready to, I need to have something that I can just click and go with Client Point. I'm going to train there.
Well, I mean, I like Client Point. We're not saying you don't have to use it. I think it's a little pricey, frankly, but
yeah, if Proposify is a simple read and I can move over to it, it does all of the same capabilities, but what I'm hearing from Laura, maybe not so much. I don't know, because I attach my agreements, I do all of my proposal, and then I send it back and I have everything signed like an e-sign. And
well, and for those who haven't been here a while, we started with Proposify, and it's very easy to use. You know, there's some advantages, frankly, but it was not a good enterprise version. What we had happening was franchisees' proposals were being intermingled and changed, and it was just a real nightmare. And so Client Point has a much better system in general. I think Proposify, you can probably create a little flashier, cooler looking site proposal, but it's better as a single user unless they made changes. So any other Proposify people on the call who can address some of this? All right. You know, there's a lot of different systems. There's HoneyBook, you know, some of you who use HubSpot, there's a ton of different deals. And it's kind of like CRMs. We've tried to roll CRMs out. There's a flavor of the month every year. And so we just let you choose the one you want. But I wanted Leslie to share something, and this isn't really as much a proposal. I guess you could use it as one, but I thought this was pretty slick. And Laura Lee shared this with our FAC recently. It's called, I have trouble saying it. I want to say issue, but I think it's issue, and it's more of a. Well, I'll have her share it with you. Oh wait. Allie and Monica. Okay. So
Matt, I'll try to share my screen.
oh wait, hold on. Allie and Monica just rejoined us. I think they will.
Sorry, we're here.
By Zoom, I can't see if I'm in a different view, I can't see who's wanting to be in. So Monica, Allie, are you in? Are you back?
Yes, we're here. Can you hear us?
Yeah, sorry. Hey, yeah, we were asking you guys, we were talking about Proposify, so there were questions on that. Can you Can you give us your feedback on Proposify? You're still proponents of it, correct?
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like corporate spent a lot of time and effort to make the templates through Proposify when we were using them originally. So when we've been using similar content and similar format to what was done before and just kind of tweaking it, obviously with updated photos and quotes. I just find it to be very easy to work with. So I'm very happy with them. I don't have any issues ever. And it's just very quick for me to go in and change the couple things that I need to change and send off a proposal.
So Laura Landisman was saying she was having some issues using the old template. Have you updated that, or are you still using that same one?
Yes, we've updated it.
So I wonder if there's a way you can share a template with someone. So I don't know if that's something you could check out to send her. So
Can you hear me a little better now?
yes.
Laura uses Canva quite a bit, and that's how I created the new template, and as I did it in Canva and then copied it over.
So is your template in Canva right now?
It should be, right? Yeah. So I could share that with her, and then she can copy, make a copy of it and make it for her own.
Okay. So yeah, so just I think let us know which one you want to use. If you want to continue with Client Point, that's great. If you don't, let us know. What was that? Is there a question?
Okay, very good.
Okay, so I want Leslie. Leslie, I'm going to make you my co-host. Are you looking for Leslie? Okay. So
It says I can't share right now.
no, I haven't made you the co-host yet. Okay, here we go. Okay, so
Go ahead, Laura Lee.
Hey, so I just want to take a minute to brag on Leslie just for a minute. In creating this, before you see it, she spent a lot of time and effort on this to create something really beautiful and impressive to our realtor fans as well as prospective new clients. So just a little shout out to her on this, and I hope you guys enjoy looking at it.
all right, we can see it.
Okay.
Or we can see your screen.
So there's a what we call a lookbook. I don't know if you've ever received an email from somebody where you could actually point and click and feel like you were changing, turning the pages of a magazine. And Issue provides that. I think we discovered it, Laura Lee, from a luxury Charleston magazine here. Is that right? How did we discover it?
I think so. And then HSRA uses it for their newsletter as well.
So I developed the Issue I guess the basics of it in Canva, and then Canva has a button that sends everything straight to Issue. It was very seamless, could just go. And this is what it looks like. If you can see that, can y'all see this? Where it just turns the pages like you're looking at a magazine. And so this is going to be our lookbook that's going to go out with any inquiry that comes in. And then within 24 to 48 hours, they'll receive a proposal after that. So it goes through each service that we offer, talks a little bit about Charleston, why home staging with us. And then that's it. It's about 21 pages long. I'll go back. You can go back and forward.
Is this available on Canva team?
That's a great question. Because I have my own Canva account. Lynn, do you know?
It would only be there if you placed it in a team folder. I know Charleston has a team folder.
Let's see. Yeah,
But-
I didn't put it in the team folder, but I think the capability is there.
Yes, I think so too.
Right.
But you would need issue to create that slick magazine flip. Otherwise,
Yes.
it's just a bunch of separate graphics.
Agree. So Laura Lee, you chose an issue account to sign up for.
Yes, so we originally signed up for maybe the free version or the $20 version. I can't remember.
Right. Yeah.
But over the holidays, we received an offer for 50% off the premium or next level up if we bought on an annual basis. So instead of paying like $480 a year, we paid $240, which was great. But anyway, we are really excited about this, and we feel like it sort of elevates our presence when we begin to speak with a potential client, that they don't have multiple things to have to click through. It's just all in this one lookbook.
So it's very visual. It's pretty and people seem to like it. We can get statistics from it. I don't know if you can still see my screen or not.
No,
Oh, you can't?
no, we just see you. So I think you need to share again.
Or if you guys are all on a computer, just Google Showhomes Charleston issue, ISSUU, and it pops right up at the top.
Wow, that's
Okay.
cool.
Good. So, because it's been published, so anybody can see it really. So we can see the average read time is 6 minutes and 26 seconds that people are staying on it to read it. Can you all see the stats now? We just started using this. I mean, in January, these are times that I've gone on. I think Laura maybe started early February sending it out. So you can see on the 7th, there were 16 impressions, I guess it is.
Can you see individuals who open it, or are you just seeing the
No,
blog?
yeah, I can't. Yeah, I can't see the individuals.
Yeah, so that's one, downside to using this instead of Proposify or Client Point. But we are just sending a separate PDF with just the numbers, a pretty page with our proposal for services, and that's separate to this. And we can track it a little bit through email, just email Outlook tracking. So we're thinking of like just leaving Client Point altogether. We may go back to Proposify because I actually prefer Proposify over Client Point. And this really isn't taking the place necessarily of the proposal, but it is taking up the place of all the information that we were using in Client Point before the proposal, if that makes sense.
But this really, I would think, has a different kind of purpose. I could see this is what you give someone before they get a proposal, just to learn about
Right.
you.
That's exactly what.
Could you put a link to this on your Google business page somewhere? So if somebody's Googling and wants to know more about you, besides just your website, this is a great marketing tool.
Yeah, you can put this link anywhere. Depends how you want to share it.
Do you want to show it like I pulled up, I Googled Showhomes Charleston issue. Do you want to show them what that looks like?
The real, what do you mean? The live look?
No, just Google Showhomes Charleston. Oh yeah, okay, I guess that's it. Okay. So yeah, if you Google Showhomes Charleston and issue, this is what it looks like.
And if you make it full screen, Leslie, that might.
Yeah, mine's not. I'm having internet issues this morning.
Okay, no,
There
we
we
can see, okay.
Okay,
I think
so
that's really gorgeous looking. I think you did a really good job.
thank you.
How editable is it or updatable? Like if, you know, a team member changes or you get new stats or you want to update photos?
Yeah, so you just go back into Canva and edit that screen, and then you send it over to Issue and you change that particular slide.
So you created this in Canva and then
I
uploaded
did.
it to Issue, and then it made all of these transitions automatically.
Correct. Yes.
So
Very
someone,
easy.
so someone could take this in Canva, edit it with their own pictures and stuff, and then create their own Issue account.
They could. You start out by, or am I still sharing? You start out using, it's called Real Estate Flyer. And that's where you create the design. So this is the template or the slides, I guess you could say. Can you see my Canva?
Yep.
So these are all the slides. And so I worked on all those, and then you just hit the share button. You scroll down, hit more, and they're down here because there's all kinds of places where you could share it. But one of them is Issue right there. HubSpot's there. A lot of different places. Any questions?
It's really beautiful. It makes me wonder if if Mac would have some negotiating power with them to get us a corporate discount.
Yeah, I mean, we can ask a question. I mean, I'm curious. So who here would want to sign up for this?
I definitely would.
Yeah, I would.
I love that.
Yeah, that could easily replace, we have a similar thing, but it's just like a presentation on that we share the link to our Google account, right? So they open it, they have to, but I like the presentation of this better.
All right, I will reach out and we'll see. So, all right, Leslie, I appreciate that. And Laurleen, I think that's very cool. I think everyone seems impressed with it. Awesome.
Yes.
Very impressive, Leslie. Really, very impressive.
Beautiful.
Oh, thanks so much.
I did
So-
one very similar too on Canva that it's in the process of finishing, but it's the same kind of booklet, but we use the presentation and it's the same thing where you go turning the pages. Obviously, this one is really looks more professional, looks like exactly like a catalog magazine, but we did kind of the same concept. But my idea was to print out, it's at least 8 to 10 pages and to send to all of the realtors. They want to see which houses we have done and what furniture we're using. So we are creating this presentation that is almost ready to go. It's on Canva as well.
I can tell you when I started here, 2007, we paid an outside agency to create something like this. I want to say we spent like $7,000-8,000 on it, and it's not nearly as slick as this. So to be able to get this for, what was it, $240 a year is just crazy. So
Matt, I'm actually going to start to work on 3 more just for vacant staging, so we can send them out prior to proposal, and we want to kind of hone in on who's calling and what type of property we're staging. So we're going to do a luxury issue, kind of a middle of the road issue, and kind of it's a low, but we'll call it premium, like below $1 million. Okay. So I'm going to develop 3 more. So you can kind of hone on, who's requesting staging.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
No,
I
I
ask
think that's, yeah, go ahead.
Is this instead of a newsletter, or are you guys putting this at the bottom of your emails? Like, how are you getting this really slick piece out there? Like, I guess I missed that part. Is it like a newsletter email? Or are you putting the link to it at the bottom of your proposals?
So I still send a newsletter twice a month through my Emma. We sent it out in this past newsletter for everyone to see because we were kind of unrolling it. But this is going to be sent out prior to an actual proposal. Laura Lee, do you want to speak on that a little bit more?
So we are sending it, like if we are just beginning to speak with an agent and they really haven't talked with us before, then we're going to go ahead and send this in a link in an email right away. So they have some familiarity with us. They see pretty pictures. They understand what is staging. They may not even know. They may have called because a colleague suggested they get a home staged. So it's just kind of provides a baseline in that email follow-up. And then following that, once we've seen the property or looked at the property online, we will send a physical proposal with numbers in a separate email.
Okay.
Now, that doesn't mean that, we're not sending this to a few agents here and there that we're just connecting with or following up with, and making contact with regularly to share our brochure, so to speak. I sent it to a couple of agent fans here as we were developing it, just, again, to remind them how great we are. So it goes in an email, or when you can put it in your proposal as a link. And I think, Leslie, didn't you put it in the My Emma campaign?
Yeah, so this past newsletter last week, it went out with a link. Lots of clicks on it. I even got a few emails back saying, Leslie, this looks beautiful, great job. We love what you do. Showhomes is wonderful, that type of thing. So I think what we're hearing is people are really enjoying it.
Okay.
But yeah,
cool.
yes, it
It's like
was in a link.
Okay. So the link just says something like, click here to see our brochure or whatever. But what is it?
Yeah. Did you receive our newsletter by chance?
I don't know. Probably.
Well, Leslie, why don't you send it to Barbara, bbliss@showhomes.com if you could. Just send her.
Thank you.
So, and for those of you who don't have a Leslie, I wish everyone had a Leslie, but I know we have a lot of you guys are starting to use virtual assistants. So I would think that, they might be able to help you with this project. So I guess that would be one of the questions, just getting the manpower to do this and tapping into that. Any other questions on issue?
Don't let issue be an issue.
There you go. Look at that. She's marketing. All right.
Matt, that issue, it's amazing, looks amazing, and I would love to use it. So when will be shareable, maybe we can personalize and change it with our pictures. But I have a question. I don't know if anyone experienced this. When I do the Emma, I would like to share it on Facebook. And the link is broke, or they say it doesn't work and the corporate has to set it up. I don't know. Do you know anything about that?
I have that same issue when I try to connect it.
So, okay. Well, can you guys see my screen right here, by the way? Are you seeing, I'm sharing the corporate insights into Emma. Are you seeing that?
Yeah,
on the
we see it,
screen?
yeah.
Okay. Because I was going to ask you, you lead the nation in emails with Emma. So congratulate 242,000. So that's pretty impressive. It looks like it's with a high open rate. So in general, has that been pretty, since this topic of this cause lead generation, has that been effective for you?
Very
recently?
effective, very effective. So I receive every single time I send a Emma out, I receive at least 1 or 2 emails back. My email campaigns, though, I can see different from other show homes. I do it mostly educational, like how to prepare the homes for sale, what are the issues in inspection, which color of the house to use when you prepare it for sale. So I'm doing it mostly educational instead of saying how cool we are as a show homes. Oh, you hack on our account, really? You can do that?
I
Where is
don't
our
think it's
privacy?
happening.
Where is our privacy?
I have access because I'm paying
Okay.
for it. So yeah, so you can take a look. This is just some of, yeah. So, and I think the reality is people don't always want to be sold. So if you're sharing content like this, like you're saying, and they're getting some value out of it, I think there's a lot of good ideas. So you sent this to 7228 people and 2,600 opened it up. So
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good.
And I
good
have
way.
a lot of, yes, I have a lot of realtors that calls back and say, can I share this to my database? This is a big compliment of the quality of the Excel because they want to share this with their sellers, with their database.
And you can click on who clicked on it to see, is this someone you would want to reach out to? So, well, one of your questions was regarding sharing. So sharing the link. So when what I want to do, and I've added these, I add these to a lot of different places, but I'm not sure how you're doing it. But if you go to like sent, like one that you've sent to recently, and you click on, that's different.
But there were some issues with that, Matt, because I was working on the same issue where you click on Instagram, on Facebook, even you have the link on the, it was not taking you there. So I don't know exactly what it was.
Yeah, no, I was just, hold on. Well, yeah, I'm pulling up my account because that looks different. Hold on. Oh, okay, I get it. Okay, so let's go back to Tampa. So let me pull up. Yeah, so what I do is I save web view as PDF, and I'll download it here, and then that's what I share. So I'm not sure.
That should be directly from the Emma, should be directly goes there as a post. Because we have a contact with some brokerages and they asked me, can you do it in Facebook so I can share on my group, because we cannot get into the brokerage, real estate brokerage, but they can reshare it. So if we don't put in Facebook, they cannot reshare it. And they try with a PDF and didn't work. Looked very funny on their Facebook. So I tried that.
So just to be clear, so you're saying you want to be able to share your campaign onto Facebook without saving it as a PDF?
Yes, and there is capability, but they said it's something wrong with the system. So they have the capability to share it on Instagram and on Facebook. So once you create the campaign and say send it, they say no, put it on Facebook. And I click on that and say it's not possible. Talk with the corporate.
Okay, well, do me a favor. So Lilian, can you send me a specific example?
Sorry,
so
say again?
I can talk directly to Emma and see because
I didn't
send me a
understand.
specific example of can you send me an example of what you tried to do so I can talk to Emma and walk through and find a solution? So just send me an email with the
Matt, it is
details.
a screen that comes up after your emails have sent. And it's like the
Right.
last screen and it asks, do you want to share it? And it doesn't work.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So they know
Alright.
what they have there.
Okay, well, let me, first I'm hearing about it, so I will check it out. That's good to know. So,
Matt,
yes.
can you, on Canva, I sent you my presentation. I want to see if it works the way I'm sharing it, because like we always say in Canva that we want to share our projects with everybody else. And I don't know if if you guys click on it, you see it, or you have to send them specifically to everyone. So I just sent you the link, and I don't know if, what do you get? What do you receive?
Let's see, log in to Canva is what it's asking me. Okay. You don't have permission to see this design is what it's saying.
Oh. We'll try again.
Yeah. Are you saying that you're sending this email to customers?
No, I was trying to share, to see how I share with every franchisee. So if they want to use the same presentation.
Well, I think Lynn, wouldn't you just share that in Canva?
Yeah.
Yeah, you would, all you have to do is put it in your shared folder in Canva.
Okay, let me see.
Yeah, you wouldn't email it. You would share it in Canva.
Put it in your shared folder, that's our group. We all set up a folder, and that's where you share things. You just put it in your folder.
Got it.
And then you just let somebody know in the group, it's in my folder. I don't know if you can actually send a link to your folder.
Oh, so now I'm saying share to the Canva team.
Yeah, so yeah, well, Lynn can work with you on getting that, but yeah, you're gonna add it there. So let's keep going on, Emma. So Liliana, how often are you sending your emails out?
Every week on Thursday morning.
Okay, so you're
And
sending it
it's
one.
important to be the same time, same day, so they expect that. And
When you say Thursday morning specifically, because I think that makes a difference. What time?
8:30 in the morning.
Okay.
So you can schedule everything. So usually I do like a 3-4 months of work and schedule them in ahead. And sometimes like things that I sent 4 months ago, I reposted them because people, they don't remember or whatever. So I have in my to-do list to create another batch of several months. And right now I'm trying to use the chat GDB. You guys are familiar with this new thing?
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure it out. So did you sign
Yes,
up for it?
it's pretty easy. I send some emails using that, and with my challenges with grammar and English, I think it's a godsend. And I think it's good. So I tried to do marketing campaign with them. It didn't work, so I still have to tweak and adjust it. As I think I have to get more educated on that. But I think it's the future. And I was planning this week to figure out if the chat GDP can put together like something regarding how to sell articles, so they can even suggest. So before I was doing by hand, took a long time to create 4 months of emails, believe me. So days of working, of full-time working. But maybe with the chat GDP will be a little bit easier.
So what you're saying is you just type, I don't know, like a paragraph into it and it will change
No,
it?
you ask the chat. So if somebody doesn't know what chat GDP is, I don't want you guys to think I'm talking gibberish. So chat GDP is artificial intelligence, and it's a lot of things around because people now can get the exams, get essays. So literally you go there and say, give me an email. So I was in a meeting and I say, I want to write up a follow-up email asking for an appointment. And I literally type this and they write ChatGPT wrote a email for me, and I copy paste the email, and I didn't have to worry about the grammar.
Wow, let's.
And it's a little bit not personal, so I tweak it just a little bit just to make it like a little bit personal, but it's very professional and very, so it looks good.
Wow, well, that's cool. Yeah, I have to look at that. So once a week is what you're doing. So, and I don't know if you have it, if you know, but I'm just curious. Do you have an idea of the number? You know, if you had to look at all your deals last year, what percentage came from email platform?
No, we cannot. It's very difficult to do this, and I don't know what I know the people. Anytime when I'm holding the 3C class, they said I receive your emails. So literally, I'm in the class because I receive your emails, and we are like Teresa is getting like the part of like a nitty gritty, all the jobs and everything, and I'm out. So she knows much better than I do the back end. So for me, I'm just going out and I have no idea what's behind. She knows better the business, where it's
Teresa's on the call. Teresa, you there? You are, Teresa?
You're muted. You have to put on mute. It's on the bottom left. Okay.
Sorry about that. I think the majority of ours is generated from either emails or calls because we're very personal. We touch them repeatedly. And I think that kind of keeps bringing them back. A lot of them turn out to be friends and are real supporters of Showhomes. So I think it's the personal touch that does it for us, not necessarily the blitzes and all that stuff. It's a lot of touching. We call before, we call after. I get follow-ups on how they think the service went and if there's any suggestions they have to make it a better experience. And I do that with every stage we do. So I think it's both ends of our spectrum. Liliana and I are kind of opposite ends of the graph. And I think between the two of us, we kind of squelch them in the middle to where there's nowhere else to go.
Well, that's good to know. Wow. So what about Kansas City? I know you send a lot. How often are you sending?
What I try to do, I'll do the scheduling thing, and I try to get them to go out on Mondays and Tuesdays, and I'll do it at about 6:30 in the morning is what I schedule for, so it kind of hits their inbox as the first one of the day, because I know these realtors, they get a ton of emails, they get bombarded. But what I've been having happen, I would say majority of mine all come from my email campaign. I've got agents that will actually catalog these emails, and I'll go to a presentation and I sell it a little bit as an added value to my service, is that once they get the professional shots and I work with them on them, we create the email blast and I'll identify an open house, or I always give them a call out. And so I'll tailor one around the house and the property as an added value sell to help them turn the property, or I'll do more of an educational, but I have a tendency to hit more where the realtors feel like I'm in that partnership with them. And it's been effective for me. It's just been, I get a lot of return. I get a lot of return realtors naturally, but I'm getting a lot of new ones with as I keep fortifying my list. I keep adding on group emails to the different real estate offices. And those emails are kind of getting me in the door so I can go in for realtor appointments and meet with them. But no, I really appreciate Miami and the way it works. And I try to do.
What percentage of your deals would you estimate came from that?
I would say 90%. Majority of it comes from Miami. I would say. Now I've got realtor referrals, but I majority of the time it's a Miami email blast that I'll get. Like I did one, I got 3 calls this morning. I had one go out, I believe yesterday or day before, and I have 4. I've got 2 appointments out of it, and I've got 4 calls. that I'm on, and I actually took one while we were during this meeting, but it all comes from that campaign going out. So
I'm
it's a-
becoming consistent with it too, every other Wednesday at 8:30. And I just did a Valentine's one, and I got 2 calls this morning as well.
Mhm.
So it is working. I mean, I think it's the consistency,
Mhm.
and realtors start emailing you and asking questions. And I got like free consultations going on right now, like a free room if you get more than 4. And I can see a little bit more now with the consistency every 2 weeks. I think I can see more traffic, and the opening rate that I have, it's also pretty good.
Something I do also, I have a realtor list, and then I have a builder developer list, and I will do separate email campaigns for those audiences.
We do a lot of, we sponsor a lot of mixers and open houses and brokers opens, and we do a lot of a lot of ours is face to face. I mean, I can't emphasize enough how much it works for us. We get much more return from the stroking, I think.
Mhm.
Building relationship is very, very important, at least for us here.
And where did you get your list? Someone had a question.
I can't hear anybody.
Go ahead. Question. Was there a question? So how are you guys building your lists? I mean, you got 7,600 people. So are you just adding every time you meet someone? They being added to the list? Are you buying lists? Where are you getting these?
No, what we do, so we have a virtual assistant that she's putting a list together every Sunday with all the new listings. So she puts like the address, the list I'm calling. So you know that I'm doing cold calls. So she's preparing for me that list is in Excel. And every 6 months, I ask her to put everything in one Excel and upload that information to Emma. So this is how we build up through this list that they are the cold calls, because it's like the real estate. It's a business that a lot of realtors, they are so new all the time. They are new realtor every time I call. So if I call this morning, I make calls. I didn't finish them because we had this call. But usually at least 30% of my list are realtors that I never spoke with. So they change literally all the time. So that list gets uploaded in Emma every 6 months. So we had this. So this is how we got to this 7,000. And most of them, they're people I spoke with.
I think it's generated from several different places, honestly. A lot of hers is cold calls, but we get quite a bit of referrals, resident or realtor referrals.
No, Matt asked how we create the database in S17 Emma. So this is how I upload it. So
okay.
What about you, Brian? How have you created your database?
I started my database with the list that came from Weichert through Kent Welch. So I had from local Kansas City market, he has access to all of those lists. And so
for those of you who aren't aware, Kent Welch is the franchise owner, and he's a Weichert real estate franchisee. So.
And then I'm also an agent under Kent. That's how we met. And so through MLS and through the real estate list he has, and then also builder and developers, he does a lot of business with developers in Kansas City. So we get those lists. And so then I go through and I just update. And then as we get new names, I'll add to them, and I've bucketed them by business.
So I launched a poll asking, are you sending weekly Emma emails? And so I shared those, but 55% said yes, 45% or no. I mean, it seems kind of like a no-brainer that this is gonna, I mean, the ad fund pays for this. It seems like this would be something you ought to be doing. So who else has feedback on Emma emails? And we're putting Catherine to sleep. I feel bad.
It's not
You're
you.
behind us. I know it's earlier. You need to get some coffee.
I have feedback on Emma. You want feedback? I am terrible at sending them out consistently. I just went and looked, and my last one I sent was in December. But every single time I send an email, I get, excuse me, my phone starts to ring. So it is incredibly effective. And we have a really high open rate, and maybe it's because I don't send very often, but I was fairly consistently last year doing it once a month, and I just fell off this January. But
you told me last year at one point you had to stop sending them because you were booked too far and you were out of inventory or something, right?
Yeah, at the beginning of the year, we didn't have the inventory before we started renting furniture. Yeah, because I would send emails and then people would call me, and then I'd be like, okay, well, that's great. I'm scheduling 2 months out. And they're like, why the hell did you just email me then? So I had to stop.
What do you mean you're renting furniture, Catherine?
One of the largest stager in Portland now has a program where they will rent furniture to other stagers.
Oh,
I rented.
how's the pricing? Because we struggle to buy the furniture, new furniture. It's so expensive. So cash flow wise, it's hard on us to grow.
Yeah. So cash flow wise, you should actually consider an equipment loan, which is what we also did. But you have to be prepared to actually, buy it. The rental thing has been great. Their prices are a little tight, so I don't make as much on that as I would like. And I've been in negotiations with them about that, because I'm like, if you want me to sell your furniture, then you need to give me a better rate than you're giving me. But because they're a stager, they make it very easy. Unlike renting from court or, some other company, I literally rent by the month. And I rent by the house. So it's pretty awesome. And they have amazing inventory. The largest percentage of their furniture is actually from four hands. So I will rent from them when I stage luxury. So it's awesome.
So they didn't do this before, because I know them, I met them several times.
Yeah.
So why do you think they do this? For the extra income, or they have hard time selling staging?
They did it. I didn't know this. So originally they told me they were doing it because they were closing down their one of their LA operations, or their LA operation, and they had just purchased a ton of furniture to have it sent up here. And so they had so much furniture, they didn't know what to do with it, which is true. But I also found out that the reason that they did this was about 1.5 years ago, or maybe not, I'm not even sure exactly when, but when all of those containers were piled up out off the West Coast, a lot of the furniture manufacturers had a ton of furniture there. And when things started shipping, all of a sudden they had furniture they didn't know what to do with. So this company, Onstage is the name of the company, bought multiple full containers of furniture from four hands at crazy pricing. So they all of a sudden had a ton of furniture they didn't know what to do with. So I'm helping them with it.
They are smart. They are really big, and they're really good company. So
yeah,
I like
and they're amazing. They're super supportive of the staging community in Portland. This is where they started. Todd's one of my closest friends. I mean, they're awesome individuals to work with. So I'm super lucky that they're here, even if they are my competition.
Well, and again, competition doesn't always have to be adversarial. I mean, so it sounds like we've been able to work together. So, well, I mean, so it seems like the majority of you are having really good luck with Emma. So for those of you who aren't doing it, are there concerns, or is it bandwidth, or
can I?
yeah,
Yeah,
how to use it?
I would like to know, is there shared content out there? I know Ash, we did our first newsletter, and Ashley put it all together, but some of the stuff is it on Canva that we would share it, or the Maya? I don't think it's on Miami, because there's not a shared folder on Miami. So how would I be able to get content, I guess, if I was to say, oh, I'm going to do this every week? It's a lot of work to kind of put together a newsletter every week. I love that Kansas City can do that.
I can answer that. What many of the franchisees do is they have each other on their mailing list. And so if you just put everybody on your mailing list and then ask them to put you on their mailing list, there's a lot of great content shared back and forth and great ideas.
Yeah, okay, we just did that. Okay, but so then if we want, just a copy basically and use some of their stuff, you just copy and paste. I mean, I don't know if there are templates out there for these
Well,
new.
no, there are templates in your system. I just shared one of the national newsletter that I sent out. I know John asked me to share it, and he repurposed it and localized it and sent it out.
You shared it in an email or you shared it on?
I shared it to all the national or sub accounts. So you might want to just take a step back, Barbara, and whether it's you or whoever's doing it, and go through the Emma training videos that are in Showpedia and go through there. I mean, it's pretty simple to use, but you might want to take a look at that. And just your account has quite a few templates in it. I think because I use it all the time as well. I mean, I think for most of us, you have a template and you just reuse it over and over again.
And you just add the content in. Okay, well,
every week. For those of you any feedback for someone getting into this? How they would knowing what you know now.
This is Brian. If we all were to share our emails when they go out, so that you get it into your inbox, and then on Canva, you just drop in the building blocks into your file, your shared file, you could then kind of transpose or take the artwork, because many times my Emma information has a little bit more descriptor, but then the artwork I don't know if that's an easy way to do it. But if you kind of saw the content come out in the email, if we all share our emails and then go back to Canva and go back into the folder and find it.
Okay.
So
cool. Thank you.
Pratt sent me a message, and I'll just bring this up as maybe a conversation piece. So he sends a monthly email. He uses HubSpot, but I know most of you use Emma, but his take is that too many emails could potentially make the open rate go down with different schedules. His big source for increase is Google search, but I guess that's a question is, are you better sending one a month or one every week? So, I mean, it seems like the ones sending them every week are having good luck, but I don't know. Do people get annoyed getting that much content? Is it too much? So I send one a month to franchise prospects, but what do you guys think? Timing wise, weekly, monthly?
2 weeks. The marketing, the business development checklist requires whatever every other week.
Okay.
Same time, I think.
Okay. Well, I think part of it, you need to try it and see what works and what doesn't. I mean, it seems like Kansas City and Tampa have found luck with monthly. I mean, it sounds like Catherine does well with monthly, but it sounds like you could send more. You haven't sent since December, so maybe sending yours more often. But I think the bottom line is this does seem to be effective. In the last couple of minutes, I do want to cover some other things for you guys to think about. So, and for the new people as well. So Liliana, you mentioned something that I think not everyone may be aware of, and I know Shelley does it in Houston, but it's the RISA training, the program. So who else is doing that right now, the training RISA Pro for certifications?
I'm certified, but I'm not hosting any here. I'm having a hard time because there's also stagers here that do 1 hour, and a lot of people don't want to sign up for the 3-hour course. So I've had a hard time generating interest in it.
I'm doing them. I have my next one scheduled for, I believe it's March 8th.
So you're doing your first one, or you going through the training?
No, that's my third, that'll be my third one.
Oh, okay.
I did 2 in the fall and now this one. So I have a partnership with the marketing director at Chicago Title in the Woodlands. And they have a
Okay.
great classroom that can hold up to 20 people. And so they do regular host, they like to have classes that people can earn those realtors can earn those continuing education hours instead of just an informational class. So, she reached out to me to schedule the next one for this spring. I definitely got a staging consultation, and I think I indirectly got a vacant staging job in the fall from it, because a realtor who I've known for years but had never used me for vacant staging, but she teaches real estate classes at a local, Champion School of Real Estate, big school in the Houston area. And I put it in my emails that I was offering the class with the link for people to sign up for the class. And I think once she saw that, it reminded her, and she was like, oh, she's not only doing this, she teaches. And then she had me come stage vacant.
Well, that sounds awesome. Yeah. Good for you.
Hey,
So
Laura.
Teresa and Liliana, I mean, you guys have been doing it for several years. You want to share kind of your experiences? I know you were doing it before COVID and after. I know you had to make some changes. You want to kind of walk us through how it works?
Well, go ahead, Teresa, you want to?
Well, Liliana teaches the courses, but we found avenues to do the classes from several different areas. We partnered with a couple of mortgage companies. Like I think Liliana is doing one in April the 4th, either the 4th or the 6th, for a mortgage broker. And that's kind of where we've got them, is just getting to the brokers and our affiliates through our networking program. So she's got a lot going on.
It was tough during COVID. So before COVID, we used to have like 80 people in the room. It was an amazing program for us. We are with the local real estate association, so they invite us. It was amazing. Obviously, during COVID, everything changed. People are not yet back, so it's not easy. So I had a class. I had one person in the room, so it's tough to keep doing. We try to be consistent and keep doing it, but it's tough. Like literally have 3 hours with one person in front of you. It's not easy. So you have to keep your face straight and do it. But it's whatever it is. And I hope now that people start coming back in person, because we enjoy, like Teresa said, we're very social. We want people to know us. So it's not easy. During the COVID, I did several webinars, but it wasn't fun to talk to a screen for 3 hours. So I was so.
Liana, Gemma asked about the financial aspect. We do not charge. We have found that it's once again, another way to build a relationship. So we don't charge for it. We bring the food.
So you're not offering continuing education hours to realtors for it?
Not for, we do the certification. She teaches the course, but we don't charge them to get it. That's a service that we offer. Our consultations, we do not charge for our consultations a lot of the times for the same reasons, just building relationships.
So Leanne, RISA suggests that you charge $35 a person for the classes. That's what I charge.
I know they told me to, but it's just.
But I also am charging them because they're paying to get continuing education hours through the Texas Real Estate Commission, right? So I don't think you can do there's very few free classes where you can actually earn those continuing education hours. And the title company where we have it, they are not taking a cut of it. They're just really happy to have someone come in so that they are bringing those realtors in to see their offices and everything else. So
maybe different state policies.
Yes,
there's definitely differences by state.
Works so different between us. Like everyone has different experience. I don't believe either one is better or worse. For some works Google Ads, for some works Facebook, for some works email. So we are really different, depends on the market. Unfortunately, it would be nice to have a recipe for all of us to be successful. I have a lot of jobs, but looks like
Your problem?
that is not possible.
So,
Just one
and
second.
just so everyone's aware, this is, to do this, you need to be a RISA member, RESA. If you're not one, we suggest you do that. But do you need to be a RISA Pro? Is that part of this as well?
Yes, you have to be a RISA Pro, and then you have to submit a video of yourself talking for like 5 to 10 minutes about something that's staging, so that they can see your presentation skills. Basically, are you comfortable speaking? And then you go through it's a webinar training course. It was pretty simple. They give you a slide deck, totally already made up. You can change out some of the photos for some of your own staging if you want to, but it's pretty, standard. I mean, in the class, you're not allowed to promote your own personal staging business in the class. You can talk about staging and what you've done, but you don't, it's not a big advertisement for Showhomes, right? But I give my cards out at the end of the class. And I add everybody who comes to that class to my email list. And it definitely, obviously puts you out there as an expert. So,
So you
but
got a question from Ann Warren. How do you accept payment? So I guess that would be for you.
I'm trying to remember the name of the, I'm using an online system to do it, and now I'm going blank on it.
What did you ask, Matt? I didn't got the question.
The question was, how do you accept payment? That was for.
Give me just a minute. I'm going blank on the name of it. I use an online system to do it
By the
for
way,
me.
so Pratt and Houston, Shelley's done it for many years. It says they charge $30, it's in the chat, y'all can see it, $10 per EU, I guess, for
Education unit.
educational unit for the 3-hour course, and it's committing money, make sure they come. Our marketing partners, title companies, mortgage brokerage, real estate agencies supply the venue and the breakfast or lunch. There's a bit of admin because you have to submit the attendees to the Texas Real Estate Commission. They've been doing a lot of 1-hour lunch and learns, no charge, but same deal with co-marketers. Okay, so Pratt, can you share? I mean, has this been effective as far as translating this from doing this into leads?
It's interesting. What we find is that we get a lot of attendees. When we do the 3-hour course, we tend to have somewhere between 8 to 16 people. And in the lunch and learns, we get more than that because it's only an hour, like 40 minutes and then some question and answer session, and they get a little light lunch. But over the years of doing this, what we found is that, it generates a lot of new leads and a lot of new people for our CRM, but the people that come are typically not the luxury realtors that we're after. Like we go for the luxury. We look at our realtors and if they are routinely the seller's agent for $1 million homes and above, they become preferred clients for us. And those people rarely are attending these classes. Like they're experienced agents and they feel like they know it. So they don't show up. It's usually people who are, realtors who are starting out or who are more, working with more modest homes or are buyers agents a lot of times.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with you. The quality is not there, but it's just exposure. And also sometimes we had a client that was her second week being a realtor, and she gave us probably 10 jobs so far.
Wow.
So
That's
she
amazing.
was a get-go. Yeah, in the last, 4 years, 5 years, it's not that, but she still paid off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of our class attendees start using us for consultations regularly. And then we, I won't say a lot, but maybe one in every class on average. And, eventually that they're going to get a house that needs a staging, right? So we're their first call then. So a lot of times we'll do,
Okay.
5 or 8 consultations for somebody before it turns into a bigger job.
So
So-
back to about collecting payment. I set my course up in Eventbrite.
Okay.
And people, and then you create a link for it. And that's what I have on the flyer that Risa supplies. And that's what that I send out to people. And that's what's on the Chicago Titles emails that they send out. So people go in there and you put in a number of class based on number of seats in the room, a number of people you can accept in the class. They go on, they pay there. And then when the class is over, Eventbrite, they take a small cut. I charge $35. I think they might take $2 or $3 or something out of each one, but then they collect all the money. I don't have to worry about collecting any of that. And then at the end, when the class is done, they do a direct deposit into my Showhomes account with the amount that I made from it.
Yeah, we do the same thing.
So it sounds like it's exposure, that there's a saying, out of sight, out of mind. You're staying in front of the realtor, but also those other vendors, which could turn into partners as well. So if you have questions, go to Risa. I know it's not available in every state, so that would be one of the first things I would look at. I know I think like South and North Carolina both. I think they're trying to get it pushed through, but the legislature. But if it's available, it seems like something to consider. So, well, we are at our time, guys. So hope you guys got some good ideas out of this. There's a lot of good content. So I think you may want to re-listen to this if you want to catch some of the different feedback and ideas. So I'll be sending out in the newsletter recording of the call along with the new matching program, which I hope you guys take advantage of. So I appreciate everyone's time. So
Okay, and just Lynn, if you can tell us when that brochure, beautiful brochure, it's uploaded in Canva team, will be great, because that is amazing brochure we like to use to personalize.
Yep, I will. I'm going to share the brochure and I'll follow up when it's going to be available. So, all right, guys, talk to y'all soon.
Thank you. Goodbye.